Bam, God bless you, sir. You're back.
Thanks for having me, buddy.
Oh my
I don't know if your audience is ready for this episode. It's gonna be a little bit different.
Listen, man, you and I obviously got together a while back, but I hit you up. I was like, hey, why don't we do an episode? Because I learned so much crazy stuff about Idaho. You learned so much crazy stuff about like the world. I was like, let's do a show where it's just like the crazy crap we learned.
Yeah.
And I'm not ready for what you're about to. But dude, the things I have, it's like there's an episode right now that hasn't dropped yet. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe that this is like, I don't even know what to do about it. Right. Like I hold this information in my head. I'm like, how do we adjust to these things? Anyway, look, why don't you start? What you, I don't know. You got number one, you got something up there rattling around. Get after it. Like, hit me with one thing that you've learned. And again,
we'll start off slow. Let's
ease everybody into
just
it.
Nationwide before we have like a good topic about Idaho, because obviously your audience is, I would say dominantly.
Predominant, yeah. And I do, like, I got a lot of things about Idaho.
Which is great. I learned so much off of your episodes all the time because I'm like, oh, because this is important. So yeah, no.
I get horrified by your episodes.
I do too sometimes.
100 stitches a second.
Yes, dude. That's some crazy shit we learned. I mean, if that's what we're talking about. Yeah, I had a guy from Africa. So you remember Cecil the lion?
Yes.
It was his concession. So his ranch that they killed Cecil on.
Oh.
So when we're doing that episode, he didn't want to put it out there that it was Cecil that we were talking about. So here's the crazy story. This wasn't even on the list to talk about today, but since you brought that up, so we started talking about lion attacks and leopard attacks because these guys are hunting them in very close confined bush, right? And then so I asked what's the difference between a lion attack and a leopard attack, and he was telling me how when a lion charges, they pick one person, and they usually know the person that shot at them. That's the craziest part. And I had so many people confirm that, like reach out like, oh, dude, 100%. They can sense you shot at them and they pick you out, and there's nothing you're going to do to break that lion off of just chewing your ass. Like, you're done. And they said a leopard, when a leopard comes at a group, they say for every second a leopard is on you, it's 100 stitches, and they're going to hit you. And what they do is they grab the back of your neck and they bite your head, and then their back paws are what pretty much gut you, and then they jump to the next person, the next person, the next person. I've actually met a few dudes that have been part of leopard attacks, and they said they're like, if there's 6 dudes, 4 or 5 of them are getting hooked up. Like, it's not if, it's just like if you're the one that's just off to the side or whatever, but they're going to hit every single person. But that lion, they knew Cecil was there. Philip, I think it's episode 3 or 4, was one of our he was actually the first person I ever interviewed for a podcast. And, he was telling me he ended up getting like an elephant permit, and they were off in a different part of the whole country hunting elephants. The neighboring outfitter, he gave them permission to come and kind of cruise if they needed help trying to find a lion, because they had a big mature lion on his place. All completely legal. But he told his guides, hey, don't fuck with Cecil the lion. Like, we don't need it. We don't need the press. It's going to be a shit show. Well, nobody told this other outfitter. So they come rolling through, and here's Cecil the lion just laying there fat, dumb, and happy. This dude hammers it. He has no idea. He's not even in like the same region of his own property. They're off hunting, like I said, on a river somewhere else, hundreds of miles away. He says his phone starts blowing up, like going crazy. And he's like, what the hell's going on? I'm like, oh, okay, they killed the lion. And then they get a picture. And he's like, oh my God, they killed Cecil. But how can he? And then the outfitter just does their thing, takes some pictures, and dips back to their concession. Then everything fell on him. So he got the whole entire blunt of all being crucified.
Worldwide. People, all of a sudden, people cared about Cecil the lion more than their moms. Like, and it was 100%. Like, why? That also entered the problem that we anthropomorphize wild animals. So it's like, Cecil, we love Cecil. It's like, okay, you love lions because you've never lived around like a 500-pound alley cat that just wants to eat your face, all day, right? And that brought to the table a lot of voices from African villages. They're like, I do not cry for lions. Like, I lost my child, or I like lost my nephew or something.
When the guy that was hunting Cecil, there was a lion that was eating the railroad workers, like some literally like Ghost in the Darkness, like shit.
Rogue lion. Yeah, Ghost of the dude. That movie was horrifying
back in the day, terrifying, right? So it was this like legitimately that movie, but in real life. And so his workers would be out cruising, like the paid guys at the locals there. And they'd be like, I have the voicemails on my other phone. They're like, hey boss, we found this guy's jeans and his boots and another one eaten by the lion. And like, they're just like casually talking on voicemail. Like, oh, the lion got another one. And they're like, okay, like, hey, we're going to be out, have that outfitter come in. If they could find him, kill that lion. And then it ended up being Cecil. Not Cecil wasn't the man eater.
Sure.
They just, there's a big male lion, take it.
Right. And that half of the story never gets told.
And it never will. I mean, except for on our episode, but it was like episode 3, so nobody had like one subscriber then.
You should do another one with that guy.
Well, when he comes back.
Why was he in town?
His sister lives here. She married a buddy of mine, and so we actually went out to dinner. And he was like telling me these stories. I'm like, "What are you doing in the morning?" And we weren't even ready to do a podcast. We were just putting everything together. And I was like, "You have to." He leaves in like 2 days. I was like, "I got to do an interview with this guy."
Okay, so
crazy shit.
That's a crazy one. I don't even want to go yet. Keep going. Hit me with another one.
One of the craziest, kind of saddest things that I have realized is that cops fear their administrative side of the department more than they do criminals on the streets.
Oh no!
I'm completely blown away by this. We've had some pretty incredible law enforcement officers on our episode. Guys had been shot. Had an officer that was shot 6 times. Crazy story. TJ Webb. I don't even know how the guy's alive still, right? Took 6 rounds, 1 in the face, put a bullet through his hand here. He was holding his gun and the round went through here, took 1 in the hip, took 2 in the arm, a couple other places. And dude, his chief never even came to the hospital to see him. God. Dude's fighting for his life. Took like me to he pulled right up behind the suspect's car. And as he popped his door, the suspect opened the driver's door and just turned back and just unloaded on him. So he ended up diving, takes the last round, hit him in the hip, which collapsed him. You know, he just crumbled and he fell, pretty much hit the back of the suspect's car and then fell on his hands, shattered both his hands. So he's now trapped. His gun's laying there. The suspect ended up taking 11 rounds before he was doing a mag change. Well, his other 2 partners just filled him full of lead and ended up putting him down. But his admin completely like nothing. The neighboring police department had to pick his wife up, and they're the ones that put her up in a hotel while he was like fighting for his life.
Wait, what department?
It was out in Delaware. It's a East Coast department. But what I have learned through having law enforcement officers on that have gone through traumatic incidents and things like that, their biggest fear is the administrative side of the department. And it is we're probably pushing thousands of cops reach out to us telling us how corrupt the departments are. Like we always want to blame the cops, right? Like, oh, the PD, these cops aren't trained, these cops are this. When you hear these people talk about like they're just tyrants and bullies for the administrative, it's 100% correct. And it's so hard for me to admit because I want to support like law enforcement in our departments.
Sure. Yeah.
I have cops reaching out right now that I'm trying to get on the show that like they have proof that their chiefs are taking money from local officials. Because you got to think all the sheriffs, all the chiefs, all this stuff are all appointed. A lot of them are voted in and they all got to do their little campaigns. And it has been overwhelming of how many cops have reached out saying that they would rather be on the streets. They say their front plate and your plates and your back are for your department.
Oh my God.
Turn it on people. They do not have your back. They expect these cops to be out here being perfect police officers with little training, no weapons training, don't know how to fight. And they're putting these men and women out in harm's reach every single day. And then when little thing happens, you're done. Like you will not have any backing. Now there are good departments. Don't get me wrong. I've had cops like, dude, my department will go to bat. They will fight.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
100%. But the majority of cops, like I said, we are probably pushing close to over 1,000 cops have reached out telling us like how corrupt, how scary. They do not trust their departments. Like the money that's getting taken, the bribes that are being taken, all from the police department. How like the crimes that these chiefs are committing. Crazy shit, bro. Crazy.
I had one of my much earlier episodes was Sergeant Mattingly from the Breonna Taylor incident, right? So he wrote this book. I think it's 12 Seconds in the Dark, because on entry he got hit and almost bled out on the scene, and then went back. They found out that he had, as he and his wife. First off, he said that none of the brass ever showed up at the hospital. He almost died.
Same,
right?
Yep.
And then they have to essentially go into protective custody. And he finds out from the FBI that the FBI has credible threats against his life. They inform him. They're like, hey, look, man, we know for sure that like these threats are real. And they said they wouldn't do anything about it because of the optics, right? So they didn't have it. And again, if you think about that time in America, it seems like a lifetime ago, but there was such pushback against supporting law enforcement.
Yeah.
And it was like, they're like, listen, we can't do anything because the optics are bad. So like, just be careful. He was like, be careful. What the hell are you talking about?
Yeah.
Right. And it's like he and his son and his children and his wife were just, everybody was at like 11 all day long, like ready to go for at a moment's notice.
It would be really hard to be a cop. I don't know. I commend any law enforcement officer these days. They're underpaid. They're undertrained, treated like shit. The country hates them. The media hates them. It's very sad. And it's disgusting to see how law enforcement officers are treated. And then when you hear on top of it all that their biggest fear is their own bosses, that it's horrible to listen to. And like I said, there's good departments.
Oh yeah.
But it should be everything. And so like I've opened up this discussion with law enforcement officers, like, how do we change it? Nobody has an answer. No one has an answer. I've heard one that I could maybe agree with, that was, it almost has to go militaristic, where it just becomes federal. So all the training, all the same, the standards are across, because you go from one department where it's okay to tase somebody from running from you, and then the next department in the county over, that's not escalation of force. Like, they need to be in a direct threat to be able to tase somebody. Right. So there's so many different things. And then you see the social media and justice warriors that are like, that's illegal. Well, maybe in your county, but then the next county over, it's perfectly legal. Some dude's going to swing at you, you can tune them up. Like, that's just how some departments are. So there's this, it's almost like TSA, like, oh, I can bring my gun through this checkpoint, no problem. But then I go to Denver and it's like, you got to go here, go check it in here, open your gun case here. We got to inspect this. Then I go to Boise. I'm like, it's a firearm. They're like, cool, here, throw this, sign this, throw it in there. You never see your gun until you get to where you're going. Right. Same thing with the police departments. There's so much just
variability.
Yeah. And I understand, like, dudes in Detroit or Chicago aren't going to be acting like Meridian PD. They're not dealing with the same stuff, but I feel standardizing something somehow so all these cops are held accountable some way or another, but then it falls on the admin, it falls on the departments, which are obviously, I think, a huge majority of them are corrupt.
It also falls on training dollars, right? So you can be deputized. I think it's in like Boise County. I'll have to check on this, but you can be deputized to be essentially sheriff's deputy, like within 24 hours. And you have to go through the training later, but there's such a shortage of law enforcement agents. They're like, look, we can get you out on the street like by the end of the week. Yeah, like right now. Yeah. And you'll be going through training along the way. But those are people that are representing the arm of the law today, right now. And it's let's say in good faith. Like, if I had the guts to do it, which I don't, because I'm like, like you, I very much admire them. That is a crazy position to put yourself in. But if I couldn't do it. And it's like, look, even if I had the best of intentions and I was like, put a badge on me, give me a firearm, like, I'll go out and uphold the law. I'm going to make so many mistakes because I haven't had I'm going to freak out. I'm not going to keep my cool. I won't keep a car in between me and the suspect. I'm punching
the First Amendment auditor that comes up, puts a camera face, is getting pepper sprayed or tased. Like,
could you imagine somebody in your face like, what are you going to do? It's like, oh my God.
Yeah. So I would be that guy. Like, that's why I am not a cop, because I'm not going to play these games. But then we sit here and we're like, oh, F the police, fuck 12, all this other shit. But it's like, you don't realize, this is another thing that I have learned, and I knew, but hearing it directly puts it in a whole different perspective of what these cops are dealing with on a day-to-day basis. Like, you have a cop that's comes on shift, 30 minutes in, gets a call for someone taking their life. And here this cop is holding the legs of a dude that another cop's cutting him out of a tree. And then they're having to put through the crime, coroners get there. Then they get in their car and they go to another one. And now they got some teenager that just overdosed on fentanyl, some young high school girl. And now they're watching the family like bawling their eyes out. And then you come blowing through a stop sign, and then you're giving this cop, fuck you, I'm a sovereign citizen, whatever the attitude that you give them, not even realizing that this cop just zipped up a little kid in a body bag 20 minutes prior to you, and they just have to put a smile on their face and come back. And then you get the other side of it, they're like, well, that's their job. Someone's got to do it. So, like, why don't we just show these people a little bit of respect? How about you just shut the fuck up, give them their information. If you're not wrong, fight it in court. But instead we just automatically go to the, we see these videos all day, every day, and we treat these people like shit, but you don't realize like they just pulled some kid out of a car that was in a car seat, but the car seat's not buckled in and they just got ejected through the front window. And then these guys are fathers, their mothers, like how I could, no.
I got invited to do this fire ops program. So essentially they're collections of fire unions and professional firefighters and just people saying, hey, look, we as a community believe in fire commissioners, right? So we believe in civilian oversight of our departments. Fine. Do it, police commissioners, same kind of, like we have a lot.
You can watch this.
Right. So I go to do the fire ops and I get to the stage, you put the turnouts on. By the way, it's May, so it's not even that bad. Full turnouts on. By 10 a.m., there were people throwing up, just like heat stroke, the whole thing. I was like, oh my, and we are not even really working. Like we're going from station to station talking to people. It's like, yeah, you got a chance to, axe down the door. I was happy to do it, whatever. But seeing it's like, okay, you're in charge of the fire department or you're in charge of the legislation and funding for this. And you literally can't stand up past 10 a.m. And we're not even doing, and we want these guys to go blow through all these situations. So we get to this evolution where it's essentially searching jaws of life, things like that. So they're taking us through all these things. They're like, look, you got a car on top of another car. First off, you got to lock both cars down. So they're like, we're dealing with all these clamps and vices and, blocks, all this stuff, right? Hyper technical and really dangerous. Cause like you start doing something without this, if you haven't married these two cars together and one car slips, like you're losing people underneath that car. Going through this, and he's like, okay, well, this is our situation, this person with a bubble. And I'm talking to one of you, he's like, yeah, we had this thing yesterday. I was like, oh yeah, I saw that. He was like, yeah, it was really bad. It's like the femur's all busted out. So there was this mass accident. The guy was talking about how at times when they start bringing somebody, they lean somebody back to get them out of the compressed front end of the car. So they're leaning back, taking them out. He's like, yeah, this one time, this femur was sticking out, that the femur got caught on the steering wheel. This guy's still alive, by the way, right? They have him strapped down in the femur. So the steering wheel's here and the femur gets caught over and they're trying to pull it. And he's like, yeah, we had to like push it back. I was like, oh, just hear him. I was like, oh my God. And to your point, this guy has to get this just broken human being out of here, screaming and yelling, trying to save his life. He has no idea if this guy survives or not, because that's not his job to keep him alive. It's his job to get him to the doctors, right? And then he goes to the next call, which could be a kid overdosing, could be a baby drowning, then has to go home. And by the way, 2 days, I was not right after that thing.
For sure.
So I came home. It was on day 2. I was trying to make scrambled eggs. I almost passed out because it was so hot and I was slamming electrolytes. That was the first time in my life when I was like, oh my God, this is why they're like 1 day on, 2 days off. Because what they ask from you in that 1 day is it's like an iron work. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And it's like,
you gotta go home and be a dad.
Yeah. It wasn't even hot. It was May. It was like 83 degrees. He's like, I find out later on, I was talking to one of the police chiefs in the area and he's like, look, May is okay. But the problem is in August, if you have an emergency, you can only work those guys for 15 minutes before they have to go sit in like one of the vans, rehydrate and cool off. He's like, because you physically can't keep going after 15 minutes. So they're asking them to do like this 15-minute sprint where they lose like 3 pounds of water, breathing through the mask, going through all these bottles of oxygen, and literally they can't keep pushing. So they don't need one crew. They need 3 crews to keep people working and rotating through to keep them alive. And it's like the taxation on our first responders is so astronomical.
We don't treat them right in this country. I feel that as first responders, and I'm not a first responder.
Nor am I.
It's terrible, man. Firefighters and paramedics, I've had paramedics on, I've had firefighters on dealing with hoarder homes that are on fire and they have to cut holes in walls to get people out because they can't even get them out of their own homes. And then you're lifting up a 600-700 pound person and all these people are just throwing their backs out. I mean, paramedics dealing with children, they're angels, man. There's a special place in heaven for all of them. And we don't treat them right. I don't think they get enough representation. It blows my mind, me being a veteran and having my disability like through the VA. It doesn't make sense to me why, if you serve this country overseas or even here stateside, that for first responders, you do your career or whatever it may be, I feel that they should have their either under us as a VA or they have a program that's just like it. Because like the cop that got shot 6 times, takes 6 bullets for his city. And then they're like, well, you're too injured to come back to work. Like, guess you got to retire early. Now what? Like this guy's what? I asked him, like, do you have any of the bullet? Has a bullet on a necklace that he pulls out. And he's like, yeah, they pulled this one out of my arm. Like, and he's wearing it. I'm like, and this dude gets nothing. You see what I'm saying? Like, well, why would you want to do that job unless you just truly feel that you're going to make a difference? Because you're not doing it for the money, the retirement, I guess. Like, but then you're doing 20, 30 years of that bullshit. Not, is it worth it?
Yeah. Okay. Here's another one for you. And again, I don't know what to do with this information. So you and I are born into a system, right? We're born into a system. This system enjoys, plastics. It enjoys metals. It enjoys technology, like all our iPhones, MacBooks, every piece of technology we have utilizes like advanced technology,
Absolutely.
material sciences, critical minerals, things like that. Okay. Now look, there's a two-step process to define a critical mineral. The U.S. has 50 critical minerals. Okay. And to be a critical mineral, you either have to be, or excuse me, not you either. You have to be absolutely critical to either economic or defensive ability. Okay. So like without this, we can't replace this thing. And if we lose this, we can't function economically or we can't function defensively. You have to have that, and the U.S. can't supply you. Okay. So not only do we need it, but we can't make it, either refining or mining. Okay. We have 50 of these. China owns 30. Okay, so they own the bulk of 30 of these. So enter the concept of tariffs, and then you go down this, rabbit hole about what the taps that China was turning on and off or has been for years for critical minerals that we need. So I don't know, for bullets.
Yeah.
Okay, now look, that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is we also have environmental groups in the United States that are hell-bent on preventing mining from occurring in the United States. And they use very clear examples that neither you nor I would ever want to see repeated or tolerate ever. I mean, we're talking about in the Stibnite mine right now in Idaho, there's a ton, literally 2,000 pounds of arsenic leaching into the water every single year from the mining operation that was done before. And there are plenty of examples of industry in Idaho and Washington and surrounding areas that
absolutely
just terrible, right? Absolutely terrible. The environmental groups obviously do not want to see that repeated. But there's also no compromise to bring mining back, where it's like, okay, check these boxes and we welcome you back. They're like, not now, not ever, never. Which means that although we have great standards for humanitarian issues like labor, you don't get to use a 6-year-old to do labor. And we pat ourselves on the back for that. No 6-year-olds, get the hell out of here, unless you're a paper carrier. Yeah. Anyway, but the point is you can't do that. You also can't pollute waterways, all these things, totally fine. We live a life that's dependent on the 6-year-olds in Africa to be doing this exact thing. And so what I don't understand is like, okay, is it that environmental groups love the world and the environment, or they just love their backyard? Is it that people that are humanitarian and argue against child labor actually care about human children, or they just care about like my children?
They don't.
I don't. And by the way, what do we do about it? Like, now that I know this, like, it deeply hypocritical that it's like, okay, we care about these things, so just let it happen where I don't see it.
That's everything. That is everything in life. What
do we do about that now?
That's the $1 million question, because people like us care, but the people that have the voice and the money and the power and the businesses, they don't. Yeah, it's all about power and money. Oh, it's cheaper. Oh yeah, we're not gonna do it here because it costs too much, but we're going to overlook these mines down in Africa, and we're going to monitor them. Oh, South America. Yeah. We're going to have our crew down there. It's all grants. It's all funding. It's all it comes down to is money and power every time. Because if they truly cared, they would be fighting it. That's like my biggest argument with, like our homeless population or our kids in this country. It's like, if we truly cared, why aren't we helping? Why isn't there more? You see the homeless just rampant in like San Francisco. If these giant organizations that are getting hundreds of millions of dollars a year in funding cared, why is it getting worse? Nope. It's all dog and pony. That's all it comes down to. That's one of my biggest frustrations. Like right now with like the truth that's coming out about everything, like not even conspiracies anymore. Everything's just real. And
oh my God. Those memes are the best.
You don't even argue it anymore. You're like, right. I haven't seen that. No, nobody cares. It's just because, I think also at the same time as people like us, the consumer that's watching and listening, we have this now. Right. So we go from, oh, these little kids in Africa, they're 6 years old mining, and then they're like, oh, look at that puppy. Look at the puppy. And you just scroll right by it. So like we've been so numb and this hardened to real world horror that's going on that we just, oh, not in my backyard. I'm cool with it. But then there's guys like us or like, we'll get into the topic of Boise School District, or I have no skin in the game, but I hear this and I'm like, what the hell? And it's just, there's things that like people need to stand up and fight for. And it's just out of sight, out of mind. No, it doesn't affect me directly, I think is what it really comes down to. Is it's not their mission. It's not their drive. They don't have this fire to really do something about it. And it just kind of goes to the wayside. And it's really unfortunate, because that's the $1 million question. If we care about, okay, we don't have children here in the United States mining, we've done great. Kudos to us. We have awesome labor forces, but we'll just
clean rivers.
We'll just cross the border.
Well, here's one that I get worried about the United States for a myriad of reasons, but understanding that like we can't build satellite technology without critical minerals that are needed for like solar shielding, right? Or like whatever, like you have a solar flare in or solar radiation in space. Like you need shielding in spacecraft and satellite tech in order to keep that stuff from getting fried. Okay. If we don't shore ourselves up and figure out a way to supply this without reservation to ourselves, we will not be able to keep that technology going. So like, whereas the United States was the powerhouse in 1945, right? 80 years ago, we were the cat's meow. We had all of this power. We had all of this leverage over the world. And now we can't even make, there are 300 munitions the United States military needs antimony to create. We can't even create those unless China turns the tap for antimony back on. Now, mind you, when President Trump comes in and slaps a tariff on them as leverage, because by the way, they turned off the antimony tap in 2021. He comes in, it's like, hey, we're going to have tariffs. People are like, you should stop the tariffs. I'm like, but the hammer they have over our head is so unconscionable. Like it's so wild that this is what's going on and no one knows about it.
Nothing.
Right. People just get mad, and rightly so. Like people don't like tariffs. I don't like the idea that things are going to cost me more, but the interconnected web of international power games is so wild to me.
It's so much farther above the average American's thought process. Unless you dig and you actually see it laid out in front of you, because we automatically just, oh, Trump's doing this and the tariffs are going to destroy this. It's ruining my business. Yeah. I mean, it sucks, right? Like none of us want to see anybody's business go under. I don't want to see people lose a lifelong dream of building a small business. And then now they can't even import products because it's too expensive. Like it's all horrible shit. But then when you see it laid out, it's like, wait a minute, Canada's been charging us 200% tariffs on butter and milk. China's charging, God knows the tariffs. I mean, you've seen the numbers on all of our product. Like this doesn't make it make sense, right? And so then when you start breaking down, you're like, okay, I could kind of see this angle. And these are the things that I feel like those steps have to be done, but we've gotten so comfortable where we are. We've let all politicians on all sides just run completely rampant and got us to where we are today, because there's obviously give and take. And why are we not charging Canada for X amount of products and tariffs on this, but they can charge us whatever? Right. What does Canada have on us? I mean, they got lumber, they got uranium or whatever in northern Canada. But it's like, okay, cool. They have 2 products that we can use, but now we're not even it's 0% across all of our stuff, but they're able to tax us whatever. Right. That's where we as American citizens, we have lived so blindly. We've let it get to this point, but then now somebody comes along, good or bad, however you feel about him. Now he's making a correction, and now it's like, oh, now this affects me. It's actually affected our parents, and we're just a byproduct of it. Now we're just living it because it didn't affect us directly.
Right. It's how we didn't see the effect.
We didn't see it. Right. It just slowly creeped in over the years after year after year. It's a little bit of increase with these tariffs. Nobody's talking about it. Nobody's watching it. And then now here we are. And then now we try to make a correction. And now it's like, oh God, this is terrible. But if I try to look at the long game on everything, I try never to go knee-jerk reaction, because it accomplishes nothing. So I try to look at okay, if we can get these back on track, we're going to bring business back. We're trying to bring the steel workers back. Like I support all of that. I want us as a country making our cars again. Look at Detroit. Look at where we used to be. I mean, God, we were thriving. And now you go to these cities, and where were we? Where's the Anheuser-Busch from? Cincinnati originally.
Yeah, sure. I think so. Yeah.
I was doing a trip a while back, a business trip, and we stopped and we're doing a bunch of filming. I want to say it was Cincinnati. I could be completely wrong. Don't judge me on it. But We're in this old town, and it had the old school Budweiser buildings, the originals, and it had like these gargoyles on the buildings, and ghost town. I mean, buildings are boarded up, and we're just driving. We're the only car in this whole entire downtown, driving around looking for spots to film. We're like, oh, this is sad. Like this, look at the life that used to be in these cities. Thriving, giant skyscrapers and the architect work, and just how much love went into these, and now they're all ghost towns. And it's like, why would we not want to see that back? Why do we not want to see these companies thriving, people starting businesses? And so if that's what it takes, I support it. I mean, it is what it is. Not obviously it's, you don't want to live uncomfortable. I think we just get really comfortable in our day in and day out life. And then now when there's a little blip on the radar that doesn't completely align with you, now everybody's got a voice through the internet.
Listen, through a lot of different conversations with people on and off air, I am developing this very cynical view of our international relationships, predominantly because if you look at 1945 and how incredible the United States was, right? And the times that you're talking about, it's like, hey, we're about to go into the heyday of Detroit. We're pumping gas, like crude oil is crushing. We have nuclear power. Like imagine if nobody had intervened from 1950 until now.
Okay.
We'd have nuclear, we'd have microgrids, like every house would have its own nuclear battery.
Cars,
right? Like
cars would be running off nuclear.
We would be doing anything we want. So from that time, as I'm realizing, there was a large international recognition that one of the things that made the United States the most dominant force at that time was our capacity to develop energy. And you saw this with our gasoline supplies, with our gas supplies, and with our up and coming nuclear power.
Yep.
Right. And because of that, they were like, all right, look, we can't invade the U.S. Like we're not rolling up to L.A. in ships, right? We can't go there and bomb them easily, right? They're going to like all these things. So there was a large push. It was like, okay, let's break them from the inside.
Yep.
And you had large funding mechanisms that came on board to fund advocacy groups, not all advocacy groups, but like the anti-nuclear.
Yep.
Right? There's no reason. Like France runs off of nuclear energy. Other countries run off nuclear energy.
Why aren't we?
We could have been cutting edge, and we were the original cutting edge. And then all of a sudden, there were these large social movements that were like, we need to shut this down.
Chernobyl, and everybody paid off of it.
First off, Chernobyl was in Russia, and a lot of bad things happen in Russia. That ain't our problem.
I'm not downplaying it.
No, I know.
Yeah.
I know. Like this
but that was all it took. And
that's
then now,
all it took.
I mean, we have built concrete that is stronger than steel. Why can't we build these nuclear facilities?
Dude, we can.
We have the technology, we have the systems, we have the water. Why aren't we doing it? This is another thing that, like, why? Make sense of why we're depending on everybody else. And this is what comes back to the politics and all of the politicians, left and right, because everything seems to be going, there's one or the other. Everyone wants to point fingers. Newsflash, none of them give a fuck about us. It's all about patting their pocket, because if they truly cared about us, we would have nuclear facilities in every state that has
piece of cake.
Our country would be set. We'd be bringing business back. We talk about, oh, we're the greatest country. We have all this wealth. We have all these resources.
Yeah, right.
I've been able to travel the world, right? I've been to a lot of different countries. Like you go take Dubai, Saudi Arabia, all these countries that have and are running things correctly. There's not a pothole in sight. Their cities are immaculate. Their infrastructure is, you can't even describe how nice everything is built. But we're supposed to be the greatest country of the greatest engineers. Dude, our infrastructure is crumbling. There's potholes that are swallowing cars. I just watched a video the other day of a dude on a scooter that ran into a pothole in the dark and disappeared in it.
Oh my God.
And he's like crawling out of this pothole. And I'm like, and here we are claiming to be we're the world superpower. Where's all this money going? Like and why are we spending it? It's all through tariffs. We're giving it to everybody else instead of caring about ourselves, because everybody's getting kickbacks. It's all about money, all of it.
Listen to this. There are nuclear batteries right now that don't even use water. Like that's through the nuclear series that I'm doing, which, by the way, people across the world, the nuclear community across the world is jumping on board with, because like no one has ever sat down and tried to explain all of this to everybody. And yeah, like, so literally I was just talking to a guy who's like, this is my colleague in Africa. Like, we need to get this African engineer on. It's like, how is this happening? You talk about engineers in the United States. They built the Golden Gate Bridge in under 2 years. Right. Back in the day, before right. Well, because they unleashed the engineers.
Look at our Capitol buildings. Look at the infrastructure, the old infrastructure in this country. If you truly look at it, you're like, we built this in a year?
Right.
Now we can't even replace a fucking road. I mean, Eagle Road is under construction. One intersection takes us 3 years to pave.
You ever been to Salt Lake?
Yeah, down there.
Ever see the temple?
Yes.
Okay. They built that with like horses and stuff. They have a domed ceiling that's gigantic, built out of like granite blocks that they hauled. And it's like, yeah, look, pyramids are amazing. That's crazy to me that these guys, not like aliens, but these dudes like cut this granite and pulled it out. And it's this dome seems like,
and it's going to last lifetimes. Now we build a bridge and it's rotting within 10 years. The concrete chunks are falling out of it. Make it make sense.
Okay. How do we not become infinitely cynical in the face of these things? You talk about traveling the world. Like, you ever been to Singapore?
Yeah, several times. Actually, I love Singapore. It was great.
Right. And it's like, why aren't we that? Why aren't we the most so like,
because we are so worried about helping everybody outside of our borders. We're so worried about all these tiny little groups. Look at LA. We shut down the LA River for a fucking fish. Some shad fish that doesn't feed anything if the ecosystem, if it goes away right now. So I've read, and it could be wrong, you can correct me. There's a fish and they've shut down look at the farms north of LA. All the fields, the crops, the orchards gone because of the environmentalists wanting to protect this fucking sucker fish in a creek, and they shut everything down. Like, there's times, like, it goes back to the mining. There's certain times we just got to be like, sorry. Like, obviously I'm not advocating for destroying I live in the mountains as much as anybody else. I'm out there 24/7. I keep everything clean. We pick everything up. But there's certain times, like, if we have to have these resources, there's got to be a give take.
Right. Like, I'm on Team Human, right? Team Human wins 100% of the time.
Growth. Like, if we're not growing, you're dying. If all these other countries are outperforming us in nuclear power and natural resources, and we're sitting here like, well, China's going to ship it to us. Like, we need to start thinking, oh, hey, LA's struggling. Neighbors are ratting each other out for watering their lawns or washing their car.
You remember that?
All for a fish. They got the Colorado River, then they're just detouring everything around and they're shutting all this shit down out of the mountains because of some shad or some stupid fish. But it's like, what is it going to affect? Right? Some fly fishermen? Well, sorry, bro, get fucked. Like, we need the water. We need the water for our, sorry, go fish somewhere else.
Yeah.
I know it sounds so ignorant and probably so, like, just not caring, but like, this is the stuff we have to think about. If you really dig into the water supply in California and why they're shutting it down, it comes down to a fish. I think Trump even talked about it at some point. And he's just like, we're opening it back up. Like, I'm like,
dude, I remember this conversation when Schwarzenegger was governor. Yes. When I was in my 20s, they were arguing and fighting with him. And he's like, I could turn the pumps on right now. It's not even going to do it. And we had these arguments have been going on forever. And you know who gets shafted? It's the California citizens.
Yes.
They get wrecked.
Oh, your fire hydrants don't have water in them? Well, thank God we saved this fish. Oh, here's the whole entire community burned to the ground. And now they won't even insure you. Oh, well, if we had water, but hey, the fish.
Bro, I've gotten I had a conversation the other day. If you take that whole state and you imagine what that state could be.
Incredible.
It's incredible. And this is the thing. If you're our adversary, right? Because make it make sense. Why would this happen? Why would anybody do this to the state of California, right? If you look 80 years ago, you're like, all right, shoot, man. They got like unbelievable natural resources. They got timber. They got minerals. They got the aerospace industry. They got Hollywood. How the hell did they get Hollywood? They got coastline. They have fishing. They have the Central Valley. The Central Valley, they could it's more food than everybody could eat. They have all of this stuff. Okay. You couldn't hit that with a stick, but all they needed to do to turn it to hell was they're like, all right, look, they need power. Let's jack the price of power. Let's shut down nuclear plants. Let's prevent that. Let's advocate for intermittent power sources like solar and wind, and poo on all the gas. Let's sue the hell out of all the power companies that are trying to upgrade things. Let's take the education. I mean, the education system used to be it, man, top notch. And now they're like, let's distract everybody. Let's screw up the education system. Let's take the university system, make it wonky, devalue the diplomas.
Great job.
All of the K through 12 education system, I know, man. Let's start spending 3/4 of the first quarter, or like the first half of the year, talking about identity. I saw these things playing out in the public schools, and parents are like, how is it that literally you have my kid for 8 hours a day and 2 or 3 of the classes are based on like self-identity, which is real. They're like, you're not even focusing on these other things. I swear to you, and I have no proof of this, but with the whole like make it make sense, I swear to you, there was a concerted effort over the last 80 years of people who were like, look, it's too good. Like they're too powerful. Let's put the environmentalists in place, make them climb up trees, and let's make them fight over water that they need to survive. Let's make them give it to a fish. They need water to survive. Give it to the fish. Give it to the fish. Mm-hmm. And they made decisions like that.
Mm-hmm. And people listen to be like, but why? That's the $1 million question. But what else makes sense? What else makes sense unless if it's intentional? Why are you destroying the greatest state that this country offers? It has to be intentional. Look at our country right now.
Right.
Look where our money's going. We're helping everybody else but ourselves. We have kids that are starving to death in homes, but we're helping the Taliban $40 million a week. They get a check written to them. Why?
Oh my gosh, I had Congressman Mike Simpson on, and I think it was our second conversation. We brought up Doge. I was like, is that real? Like, is this stuff real? He's head of appropriations. He's like, yeah, a lot of it's real.
Well, yeah. Why are we funding transgender Sesame Street programs? Like, why? Why? Who's getting the kickback? It's all, dude. That's where I'm not even left or right anymore. I am right down the middle of fuck the government, because if they truly cared, God. I mean, dude, if they truly cared, this is the best part. It'll kind of get political, but I won't go too much in a rant. If the left cared or the right cared, they're all in cahoots, and they're just sitting in their thrones laughing at us. We're in the trenches, divided, fighting over the dumbest shit. I just read an article the other day that they just found it was either 30 or 60 children in a child trafficking ring. The majority of them were pregnant. Nowhere on the news.
Wait, where did they find them?
Florida, in like some where?
Oh my God.
Why isn't this nationwide? Why is it not on every single news platform? These children that are being trafficked. But oh my God, dude, if some person gets, I don't even watch the news anymore. I've gave up on. But like, you look at social media, it's like, why are these topics, like, why aren't we going after the things that truly matter? But it's the loudest voices, the smallest group of the loudest voices, and that's all we hear. It's like right now, I saw something this morning, like they're protesting in DC right now because Trump. Did you see him giving the police the power, the federal power right now? Because he's like, this place, dude, DC's a shithole. Like anybody that I've
never been, absolute shithole.
In all the surrounding area, the crime is horrific there. Like that's our capital, right? Like this is where all of our politicians are. So Trump, love him or hate him, he's like, hey, we're cleaning the city up. There's people out there protesting right now like that. He's advocating to clean up the crime in the city. It's like, why can't we come together and take care of our children? Why can't we come together and take care of our public education system? Why aren't we coming together and taking care of our health system that is falling apart? This is where, in I guess the chapter of life that I'm in right now, in listening to people on the podcast, that it doesn't matter what side you are on, it's just a different version. That's all it is. Like,
okay, this is what I'm talking about. Where did the protesters come from? Who are they? They're all paid.
They're all paid.
Okay, so like, I swear to you, I swear to you, this is international interests finding representation in the United States. They're like, all we got to do is get everybody fighting.
Yes.
All we got to
divide and conquer. It's the most basic military tactics.
We'll go with just pay the dude $200. They'll get on the bus. They'll go down there. They'll tear stuff up. Tell them to put masks on. No problem. And they'll go and they'll protest. And then it'll be all over the news that people are protesting. And then social contagion. People are like, well, other people are protesting. I
got to join.
And it's like, this is what's happening. I swear. Because it's like,
this isn't a conspiracy. This is real.
Who has the money? Like, how many people are just sitting at home with money falling out of the sky so they can just leave whatever they're doing and go protest all the time?
They're not sitting at home with money falling out of the sky. They're all living off the system. They're all dependent on the state. They're all just these unemployed, miserable people. And then they see a Craigslist ad, which I don't know if you've seen the pictures of these Facebook Craigslist ads of like looking for physically fit people that want to stand up and fight, and like how they word it without wording it, all their key clever words. And then they find the organization that's funding it. It was a China-run organization that's making donations to a U.S. organization that's backed by politicians paying these people to be out and protest.
Dude, I saw
make sense.
I saw one on a local Idaho political page recently. Okay. And I don't spend a lot of time reading stuff on Facebook, but I do post stuff. So I'm going to post this thing, and this guy's like, hey, who's willing to jump on to like protect something? I can't remember exactly what it was in Idaho. And he was like really mad. Oh, it was deportations. It was like, we need to sue the state of Idaho for deportations or something. And I was like, huh, interesting. Because I talk to a lot of law enforcement people. And it's like you talk to the sheriffs, and you're like, you get a different view of what they can and can't do. Like Sheriff Clifford of Ada County doesn't have the power to deport anyone. He doesn't have like the citizenship registry.
He's into it.
Like he's in charge of this chunk of space. Yes. He has to keep law and order. And if he finds out somebody is here illegally, but ICE will not come and do anything about it, Sheriff Clifford does not have the legal standing to do anything. Federal. Right? He's like, I can charge him with what I have to charge him for. I can't charge him for crossing the border illegally. I don't have the power to do that.
That's above his echelon.
So this guy's going off, and people are like, there was a little bit of interest. People are trying to pick into it. Like, wait, what is it exactly that we're like jumping on board? Turns out this guy's like, I'm looking for partners in Idaho because I don't live there. But what's happening in Idaho is not right, and we need to get on board. Essentially, he's just looking for people to sign off on the lawsuit.
Yeah.
And then he'll fund the lawsuit, but he needs people to jump on board for it. This was like 3 days ago. I was reading this like, does nobody recognize that this guy's not even an Idahoan, and he's just looking to use your address and name to further this whatever agenda? Like, if Idahoans didn't like this, Idahoans can take care of it. This guy's just showing up, like trying to like grab somebody that's
all these justice warriors now. They all just want to make a quick buck and feel important. Or
he's getting funded to find people in individual states so that they will jump on. Somebody comes to them, they're like, I will give you, you're a consultant, I'll give you $50,000. You find willing citizens in these 10 states to sign off on this lawsuit. We'll do the rest. Your job is just to find these people. That makes perfect sense. And that would explain why somebody in a different state is going around to these people being like, I need somebody in Idaho. I need somebody in Wyoming. It's like, oh my God.
Well, I think the way that they're able to get away with it, a lot of it is through charities, organizations. Nobody checks them. I mean, I've had one for coming up on February, our 12th year. I mean, learning what goes into an organization and how to run it properly. Dude, we work with a lot. Well, I don't want to say we work with a lot. We've tried to work with a lot, and we always do our due diligence and see what they're doing. And it's been very hard to find other organizations that are like, actually the funds, because I think it's by law, don't quote me on it, but I want to say it's like 8 or 10% by law has to go toward the program. So all they have to do is like, oh yeah, we're researching, and then all the other funds can go toward whatever you want.
Oh, you mean like administrative fees or something?
So we're helping wounded veterans, right?
Okay, great.
By law. So there was a Vietnam, this is a perfect example. Vietnam organization got caught a few years ago. They were doing like 25 to 30 mil a year. These 4 or 5 Vietnam vets, they were doing the bare, so only let's say 8% of the funds that there's 25 million, whatever. It was 25, 30. 8 to 10% of it was going to help Vietnam vets, and these dudes were pocketing the rest.
Just as like administrative fees or whatever fees.
Whatever your bylaws are. And so that's how these organizations are able to get away with a lot of this, because they have outside sources from the PAC making donations. And then in return, okay, yeah, we're going to have protests here, and we're going to have all these people vote for you. It's just a way to filter money. It's the easiest way.
You know what? To this point, a buddy of mine during the election sent me this breakdown of funding, and it was wild because it was this like big funding tree, and essentially started with like all of these different organizations that were donating through different, and it was 4 or 5 levels, and it comes all the way down to like this one last organization, and it's like you would think that this last organization, the last stop where the money went, was totally fine, like no problem. But if you went 4 levels back, you realized it was really 10 to 15 different organizations that had nebulous sources of funding that then filtered through all of these different pass-through or different donations, because you can donate to a nonprofit and that nonprofit can then donate to somebody else. So once you go through 4 or 5, you can't track anymore where the money came from.
Grants. There's so many different ways of wording it. So that's where when people are smart, you make a private donation and it is designated for a specific use of that organization. Like, we have donors do it all the time. Like guys that are like, hey, I want to specifically fund this.
Right. I have $5,000. You have to to agree as the organization that you're going to use it for this. And you're like, okay, great. I either can or I cannot.
But then who knows what these charities, nobody's looking at them anyways. I mean, they're the ones funding, like, why are these pallets of bricks and rocks showing up? Oh my God. Shit like that, right? Like, so it's just, if you're just a free thinker, oh, there just happens to be a construction site going on. Well, we're going to have this protest downtown and these just got delivered last night. Like that type of shit. It's like, where is it coming from? Nobody checks organizations, man. That's how they're all getting away with it. It's scary.
Make this life make sense for me, buddy.
Dude, I'm telling you, like, that's my biggest lesson to our kids. Make it make sense. If somebody's explaining something to you and you're like this, yeah, no, that doesn't make sense.
Doesn't make sense.
Question everything. Question it.
But what do we do now as two U.S. citizens that want the best for the United States and those living in it? What do we do? Like, how do we navigate this?
We give people a voice and put the word out there, but we don't do anything, man. That's the scary part. What can you do? What are you going to do? Drive yourself mad? Become one of these people that's like some social justice warrior screaming online about how corrupt everything is? I mean, we kind of did it on this, but what can you do? I mean, we're so comfortable as a society. We're so divided as a society. There's no coming together anymore. And I don't know how we'll ever bring this country back unless mainstream media completely goes away overnight, because that's where all the propaganda comes from. And as long as we're fighting in the trenches over kids being able to chemically castrate themselves and women can do this and all this other crazy shit. And it's like, this is what we're screaming about. But meanwhile, like, you're not even worrying about the tariffs and you're not worrying about what we're importing or exporting. Nobody cares about what's actually making this country run. It's just what makes them comfortable or not comfortable. And that all comes from social and our mainstream media. And it's all just tactics. It's military tactics 101. As long as we are fighting over the dumbest, I watch this shit now and I'm like, this is what these people are screaming about these days? Like this.
Yeah, but I don't.
I want your life.
This is what I ultimately come back to. I don't think any of them care. I think these are contractors that are getting paid to mess with the United States. I think they're literally getting paid.
A huge chunk of them, yes. But I also think there is a huge chunk of this young generation of these college kids that just feel they need to belong to something. Yep. And then there's a movement where they're going to hear our voice and we're going to make a difference. And it's like, no, you're not. No, you're not. No, you're not. Nobody. You're going to kick and scream. You're burn a couple cop cars. You're going to burn your own city down, raising your own taxes because you're a fucking idiot. And then it's going to go right back to where we were, because nothing is going to change, because we live in our comfortable little bubbles. Nobody talks to anybody anymore. Nobody even knows their neighbors anymore. We just live in this society where it's like, cool, I'm staying in my own lane. Don't bother me. And that's where we're at. And I think that's where they want us, because as long as we don't have the ability to like stand up and turn and have a voice, divide and conquer. The media is our number one threat to everything. Like, look at everything they put out. There's nothing positive anymore.
Dude, can I tell you something? This happened. Okay, so I don't know if you're familiar with the big snafu that happened with West Ada back in like March or April. There was everybody's welcome here, controversy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So I get obliterated in that just because I talked to two people from West Ada. I talked to a board member and I talked to the administrator who was charged with carrying out the direction of the district. He didn't make the rule. He didn't even have to like it. They're like, look, you're the janitor. Go clean up the vomit at the gymnasium. He's like, well, here I go.
He's just a messenger.
He was literally just that guy.
Yeah.
Anyway, so, and then I have people on from the teachers union, from the state PTA, and people from both sides saying, hey, look, this was our position. Okay, this is our position. Fine, whatever, no problem. Well, of course, the news media just obliterates me. Nothing but like this crazy, obscure right-wing, all these things. It's like, fine, whatever.
And here you are doing everything you can to stay neutral.
Here I am trying to represent all. I invited everybody on. Okay, so that happens. It's like, fine, whatever. Glad that one's over. They run the story again a week ago. Okay, now mind you, this happened in like March, April.
Yeah.
Okay, a week ago, I get a text from a neighbor saying like, I just saw you on the 208. It's like, you did? She's like, yeah, it was you and some guy from West State. I was like, they're still running the story. It's because school's starting again. So check this out. Yeah. That week, just that week, I had Congressman Mike Simpson on. I had people talking about nuclear energy. I had people talking about advanced material science. I had people talking about like all of these different things that are happening right here in Idaho right now. And I was like, And the news is running
It's clickbait.
with everyone's welcome here again.
It's all
And like,
clickbait.
how, you know what I was thinking? This was so ridiculous. Like, you made me. You made this if you were covering things that were really important, I wouldn't have a job. But like,
If you were doing your job,
if
you
were
wouldn't
doing
have
your
a job.
If you were telling all of the kids in the state of Idaho that INL, Idaho National Labs, is aggressively hiring people in all levels of training, be that a high school diploma all the way to a PhD in nuclear engineering, they need those people to do the research and do the science. They're nuclear techs. Yeah. You don't need an undergrad for a lot of these jobs. Like if you're manipulating nuclear materials, all these different. You could just, like, there's an example of somebody who was working in the cafeteria food system there that then became one of the techs.
Imagine that.
Imagine that. They're not telling people that, right? Like, God, man.
Divide and conquer. Nobody cares. Nobody's going to watch that. I mean, that's what they think. But imagine if they were putting out, hey, Idaho's looking to hire
we need 10,000.
2,500 linemen this year. Right. And this is going to be your starting base salary. Why? Like, what? Hey, we're 8,000 plumbers short in the state of Idaho. I'm just throwing that number out there.
It's probably accurate.
For real, right?
Right.
But it's like, why is the news not reporting on stuff that's going to make a difference or can make a change in their own community or state? But instead, we're talking about kids chemically castrating themselves and wanting to be a fucking dog and shit in a litter box and wherever. So we hear, right? Like, you hear this shit. It's like, why are we focused on this? It's like, it maybe have been one incident. Who even knows if it was a real thing?
I've seen more UFOs than I've seen litter boxes.
Okay, thank you.
Like, no one has ever provided a photo, and I've asked.
But look, we're talking about it.
Right.
But we're not talking about the shortage of all of the blue collar workers right now. Like, I get hit up constantly because obviously being a vet, and I have a large following of vet dads.
Yeah.
And they're like, man, what do you think my kid could do? Like, I think my kid's going to join the military. I'm like, you're an idiot. No, like, blue collar. Right. Quanah has a utility school right down the road here. One of the best in the country. Your kid's going to come out and starting it set for life.
Right.
We've been teaching all of our kids all these years, go tech. Hey, learn how to code, learn how to do this. Oh, the tech's the future. That's gone. AI just ate up your job.
Yeah, right. I have a buddy. The episode came out today. This guy, Zach Hansen. Okay. He works in AI. Very bright guy. Went to grad school, the whole thing. Moved from, had some personal things happen, moved from Louisiana to Atlanta, Idaho, right? And goes there, grows out this beard down to his belt line, learns how to fish hunt and trap, all these things. And he's doing this while, by the way, he's jumping on like Zoom calls because he works in AI business application, right? But the story goes, which is amazing. I met him because he wrote a book about, as it's called, turning feral. He's like, I went from this like, wing-toed shoes to chasing a bear down in my backyard. And it's like, wow, that's badass. By the way, there's tens of thousands of copies of that book sold. Like, it's a really, and I read it. I was like, damn, man, you're a good writer. I actually do jujitsu with him too. I was like, you're not bad at jujitsu either. Cool guy. Yeah. Point is, he goes through this experience where he loses his white collar job. And he's like, okay, well, I'll just go get another one. Yeah, you and the 10,000 other people that are going through this mass contraction of like these AI, businessy tech jobs. So he even made it to the second and third round of these interviews. And they're like, all right, we whittled you down from like 10,000 applicants to 50, but you were the 45th. You're not the first. And he's like, 45? And they're like, yeah, man. So he has savings. He did a good job. He's like, so you go to like savings for month 4, month 5, month 6. And he's like, and then you're in month 7 and month 8 and month 9. He got contracts to do beaver trapping. He was doing hunting. He was selling pelts. All of a sudden, he was funding his mortgage through his capacity to trap and hunt and do these things. And he was like, oh my God. Like I said, and it bridged the gap of like, we don't have any money coming in. And he was able to get another job in his chosen profession. But in that time, he got his welding certification. He did all of these things. And he's like, oh my God. This is crazy. I have graduate degrees. I can't get a job. And all of a sudden I'm making $5,000 a month or whatever he was making doing trapping. He's like, how does this make sense? And again, it comes back to it. It's like, we have overprescribed this burdensome delay of adulthood. We saddle young people with that. I swear to God, people are doing like who's making money off of our kids, like losing 4 or 5 years of productive stuff. Tons of them go, they don't even need it. There's no ROI.
Look at all these giant companies that are now down. They're lowering their education standards from masters to bachelors, bachelors to associates, and no college degree. Now it's it's like this giant movement in the
employment world.
Exactly. And so now but I still have these parents who are like, oh, I can't wait for Timmy to go to college. I'm like, why?
Right.
Why? So you can go learn world cultural studies or some world religion studies.
Right.
Oh, I'm gonna get my marketing degree. I've done marketing my whole entire life. I've never been in one fucking class. I have a 17-year-old kid that's running a podcast, and she's got a college intern that's gonna start working for.
Yeah.
Like you don't need college. Think about that. I was having this conversation with my daughter. I'm like, kid, you're in a high school homeschooled kid, and you have college interns that are gonna be working for you.
Wait, right now
we're in the process of going through them.
You got to help me learn how to get an
intern. And I'm like, here's this kid that's going to school and in debt. And now he's got to come check in and report to a high schooler that's homeschooled. Man. I'm like, why? Learn the skills. Military is great. Military will change your life. Especially if you're the kid like I was, it just anarchist. I'm going to do whatever I want. It'll line you out real quick. I support the military. I have a hard time supporting the war times of things because we see how things obviously have panned out. Like, just had this conversation with a guy the other day. We're like, no shit, they were fighting us. Like, there was no weapons of mass destruction the whole time. Like, we got lied to, right? Like, there's no questions about weapons of mass destruction or why we've been in the Middle East. We all drank the Kool-Aid, but as far as squaring somebody away and getting your life on track, I think it's an incredible thing. Or go be an electrician, go get your lineman, go to the lineman school, and you're going to come out making $100,000 a year starting, and you're going to have your giant truck with your fifth wheel. You're going to travel the U.S. and you're going to be working some of the coolest remote jobs, and you're not going to regret it. But instead, these kids are like, I'm going to go to college because my parents went to, and I got to go to my dad's fraternity, and I got to be in my mom's sorority and whatever. It's like that's your goal for your child, to go and be an Alpha Sigma or whatever the hell these things are called because you were in it. Times have changed, man.
Yeah, not
times have changed.
Not for that price tag.
For what? And these kids are coming out dumber. Look at the test scores.
Yeah,
not our kids are not getting smarter.
And the burden of debt, if you drop out, you don't even get the degree, but you owe all that money you paid.
Yep. For what? Because somebody says that you have to have it.
Bam, this is a heavy one for me to carry tonight.
We haven't even got into the good shit yet.
Listen, we've been going for over an hour, man.
Have we? Oh my God.
I know, time has flown by.
Sorry, I rambled.
No, listen, we got to do this more often. That's the problem. It's been a while since we've caught up. First off, shout out to your daughters for this bread.
Dude.
Oh my gosh.
Just take a bite. Just how often do you get to bite into a fresh loaf like that? And that's which one did you grab? That's our Buongiorno. So that's mozzarella. Listen to that crunch.
It's so good.
Mozzarella, pepperoni. We do a bunch of herbs with a Parmesan on the top. That one's bomb. And then this one is the raspberry white chocolate. I just had that this morning with peanut butter and jelly. Sour bee, man. We got you.
You guys do that long fermented stuff too, right?
Everything's fermented.
Yeah. So like I usually don't eat bread, but I actually trust your bread.
Oh, thank you.
You gave me the loaf last time and I had some and I was like, oh, I'm not in pain. Like usually I'm buckled over in pain. This one doesn't do it for me because you guys.
Some people it affects, some it doesn't. Yeah, we have a lot of people ask about gluten. Sure. And like my youngest daughter, I don't want to say gluten, but certain things tear her up. We do a long ferment on it, which doesn't make it gluten-free, but it just helps break down the enzymes.
Does she have a better time with it?
No problems at all. We've actually have people they ask, and we're like, hey, we actually have customers that we do an extra long ferment on their bread because they have no problems with it. So, but yeah, it's pretty cool, man. The girls have been doing this, and we started it a year and some change ago, and man, it's doing really well. I mean, the growth, it's exploding. Like they go to farmers markets here and like they're sold out in like an hour, and we ship all over the country. We got some big celebrities right now that are like clients of ours that are ordering their chefs order for them every week. It's been crazy. I never thought in a million years that I'd ever have a bakery in my home. So
I told you this before. I love that you have provided your girls with doing that kind of stuff. I actually have this idea. I really like woodworking, right? Yeah. And I recently moved to a little hobby farm where I have the ability to have a shop, right? Because I had all these tools in the shop before, and I left them because I was like, I don't have a spot for them here. Yeah. Well, I recently moved and I went and got my tools, and so we started building. So we did this project where we had a bunch of people coming over for a pig roast, and I was like, well, we need a big table, and so I built this bad boy in like in the evening with my son, which was super awesome. So he was able to come with.
That's actually nice.
Right. It's really not bad. I'll tell you that much. But now I'm kind of looking at this as like, hey, why don't we? And then I took the spare wood from that and I made a small Adirondack. Right, with my 11-year-old son. The Adirondack is even better because it's like this. Here, I got a picture of the Adirondack. It was the top notch, man. But the point is, like, all of these little things you can do with your kids. This is a little Adirondack. That was just out of the scrap wood.
That's cool.
Right. So like,
why not?
Right. Why not have? And it's like, it wouldn't be that expensive. Mm-hmm. They start learning a skill. Like your daughters are obviously engaged in professional baking. Mm-hmm. Great. My sons could be engaged in professional woodworking.
Yes.
We have products. You can see it. You can use it. It's not something that's, like, oh, the idea. It's like, no. I'm going to go home and eat this. Like my belly is full because of this, or I'm sitting on this chair that I built. Like you have the capacity to build those skills. With Zach, when he was in here talking about it, there's a period of time when I was doing SAT prep, when I was really getting sick of it.
Yeah.
And I was really into woodworking. I started making tables for people, like large outdoor custom redwood tables. Yep. And it was like, I was clocking in like $100 or $150 an hour building these tables because nobody knew anybody that could build tables. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, this is really not that bad. And I really like it. And then, I was like, I can't. So I didn't have enough room for a shop. And I was like, what are you doing? Yeah. And he's like, SAT's fine. Anyway, listen, man, we got to do this more often. I love connecting
right down the
with
road,
you.
man.
Yeah, I really enjoy it. I'm glad you didn't move too, because you told me a couple.
We're in the process.
Stop it! You are.
Mm-hmm.
Where are you going, or where are you thinking about?
We're looking at getting back east, but we're right now. I mean, I've walked from everything that we've had. Like I've walked from everything. We're starting fresh right now. Just obviously with the podcast and the bakery, we're doing that with the kids, and we're showing them the steps along the way. Like if we fail with our kids. Like our kids are going to watch it But right now things are going really well. And I think instead of me always, because I was in the marketing, branding and all that for a long time, social world, I've always built everybody else's brands and everybody else's companies. And I've always helped them get to that next level. And so I sat down with the wife recently and I was like, I'm done. Like I'm doing all of this for everybody else. And granted, it pays the bills and I made a living off of it. But now I'm like, dude, like, fuck it. Like we're doing us. And so, we went all in. So I walked from everything and, God, man, we'll see where it goes. I don't know. We'll see if it's the right decision or not. But that's the whole point. Like this is the terrifying stage. This is where people quit. This is why people don't make the leap because you're comfortable. Right. When you're comfortable, you get complacent. And then before you know it, you're 20 years down the road and you're like, fuck, we haven't done anything.
Right. And then you just have like a what if.
Yeah, I should have.
Yeah. Well, I want to hear more about this, but off air. Thanks, man. I appreciate you.
Always, buddy.
God bless.